In the game, you get out with what you put into it. It's like a walk of life. If you're good enough, go out and get it, no more about it.
But not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
Your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods and she gives you 50 pence. You can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well, Johnny Buckley. To do that to Tomas O'Shea, he deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word go today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Carey. Carey leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it high. He's put it over.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.
Hello, and you're very welcome to episode 271 of Treaty Talk. Tom Clancy here once again with Matt O'Callaghan, and we're here as ever in association with Noels Menswear. Matt, we normally just trash out our bit of a running order, what we're going to cover for the evening, and we've done that just before we've started recording here. But one topic I didn't broach with you, I said intentionally so, was the award you won yourself last week. You'll probably blush now, but you were the recipient of the Tom O'Brien Personality Award, as awarded to you by John Kiley at the East Limerick Gaels Awards just last weekend. First of all, congratulations. And second of all, how gobsmacked were you to receive such an honour?
I was actually stunned. I was absolutely stunned because I was acting as MC for the night, and John Kiley got up to speak. Well, John Kiley got up to introduce the Tom O'Brien Personality Award, and I was sitting comfortably behind him. Now, he didn't keep me in suspense for very long. I hadn't an idea that it was the last thing on my mind, trust me. But when he turned around and announced me, I was absolutely shocked. Absolutely shocked. Gobsmacked I was, because, really privileged to get the award, actually. It was from East Limerick Gaels, but they brought John Kiley into the loop, and John Kiley spoke for a while. I didn't recognise what he was speaking about, to be quite honest. And Colm O'Brien, who's the son of Tom O'Brien, made the presentation. But for me, it was a moving moment, and believe it or not, Tom, for once I was struck speechless, and.
Hard to believe,
found it hard to respond, but I got over that bit of it, but it sank in. But it was really, really lovely and so thoughtful of him to get it. But Tom, I disregard that now. But I have to say about the East Limerick Awards, they're a paragon for anybody, because as I've said here in this medium, the format is absolutely fantastic. All right, part the special awards, the referee. Special Achievement Awards, Hall of Fame, which went to Joe Leonard, who won an All-Ireland minor medal with Limerick in 1958, started his career with Fedamore, played with St. Patrick's, played with Old Christians, and played with Limerick for 5 or 6 years, and is now domiciled in Naas in County Kildare, and came all the way down on the evening for the presentation. There was a presentation to Dolores O'Riordan, the late Dolores O'Riordan, to Patricia Heinen. Dolores O'Riordan's was accepted by her brother Joseph. There was a presentation. Patsy Coffey made a presentation of the Jimmy Butler Coffey Referees Award to Pat Collins of Ahan. I hope I'm not leaving it. Oh, there was a very special presentation. To the three lads that wrote the book "Keeping the Dream Alive." What a fantastic! It was absolutely fantastic to see those recognised for the absolutely excellent production. And I'm just looking at it over my head here. It's not over your head now, Tom. It's over mine and my bookshelf in my coveted area. Of my bookshelves here, I can lay my hand in it practically without getting up. But what a wonderful production, and it was wonderful. Now, two of the lads are from East Limerick, which was nice. James London is from Cappamore, and Liam O'Brien is from Fedamore, and it was so nice, that they were recognised. But what really strikes me about this award system is that you can't have any arguing. Caherline got this, Cappamore got that, Knockon got something else, Ballybricken got something else. None of that. There's a representative from each club honoured, which is a fantastic concept. And the whole concept of the criterion for honouring people is that they have what they have achieved for their club. And most of these would have played with their club for years and men have won nothing, and would have immediately morphed into being administrators, and excellent administrators. And for most of the people that came up, and there was 11 recognised from the 12, I think, actually, from the 12 different clubs in the division. And it was just absolutely fantastic, Tom, to see people getting recognition. Like, reading the citations was moving insofar as that, these were people that had not been recognised at all. They might have a few medals, a junior B medal or something, or maybe a junior medal and that sort of thing. But that was the extent of the recognition that they got. Not that any of them were looking for it. It was absolutely fantastic. And the concept has been going. Next year will be the 21st year of it. And it started at the old time Gaels, and it was kind of separate from the East Board, but they've come together for the last number of years. And Tom, the crowd that was in the Millennium Centre in Carrickendish, I don't know if you know the venue.
I do, yeah. Standing room only.
It's absolutely massive. There wasn't standing room there.
Yeah.
That will give you an idea that how people in East Limerick have bought into the concept and bought into how it is run, because, it's transparency personified, and arguments about one club getting this, that, and the other thing, gone.
Yeah.
Out the window. Everybody is recognised, and, some of the people that were recognised there, all of the people have made a huge contribution, and some of them would be well-known, sort of well-known. For instance, Packy Deere would be quite well-known. Anyone that goes through a gate into a match would know Packy. Seamus Hartigan, a brother of Pat's and Bernie, what service he has given both as a player to South Liberties and involved with their in the administration, chairman of the club. I'm only giving you a snapshot of those that were recognised. And I don't think anybody could for 1 minute fault or argue with any of those that were recognised. It was just a fantastic evening. And as I say, I'm awestruck by the method and in which these awards are made. Now, you can discount the one that was at the end, but apart from that, it's an excellent concept, Tom.
Yeah. And do you think, Matt, I suppose briefly anyway, before we move on to the on-field stuff, but do you think as the Gaelic Games family or body, are we slow enough to recognise, particularly maybe volunteers around the place? I know players, hurlers of the year and this and that, those awards probably come naturally around the place, but we're probably a bit slow to recognise the fella that opens up the fields 7 nights a week, the fella that closes the gate, or the woman that, looks after the admin or the teas and coffees or whatever role it is. We're very slow to recognise that. People can be doing this for 20, 30, 40 years. And
there's someone, Mike Hederman now from Fedamore, he got an award. He spends most of his spare time below the field in Fedamore.
Yeah.
And the only complaint I had with him was he won a county medal in 1976, county intermediate medal. They beat Dunrue in the final, which I told him on the night.
Yeah, at your expense, yeah.
At our expense. But, Mike is classical of what you were saying. Good hurler in his day, got little recognition, although he got a county medal. We tried to stop him of it here in Dunrue, but he got it and fair dues him. But he's the type of guy that volunteers, and Niall Maher, Doon, and if you see all the others that got recognition, to see to see why it's laid out there in black and white as to why they did, and not a one could argue with it for any one of them.
Certainly. Well, congratulations to yourself, Matt, and indeed to all the recipients last weekend. And I hope
I haven't left anybody out there now. I just give a quick check because I to be quite honest, Tom, I didn't expect you were coming at me with it.
To catch up, you were cutting the hop again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
there is one that I did miss out, and my apologies, and thanks be to God for the opportunity. There was recognition of the Butler family from Doon, and it was for the late Brian Butler, who died tragically at the age of 28, and the family put up the Brian Butler Cup, which is run every year.
The East Junior Championship, is it?
No. It's a separate junior hurling competition in East Limerick every year. The Brian Butler Cup. And the way it was run over the last couple of years, I've been following it closely, is an absolute credit to the East Board. An absolute credit. It is not a championship. It's just a separate tournament, for the want of a better word, to honour the late Brian Butler. And the Doon Club first gave the cup. I think it's as far back as 1972. I think it's quite a while back anyway, or 82. And the Butler family subsequently replaced it. But the manner in which it's been run off absolutely is a paragon for others to follow. As far as I know, the 4 quarterfinals were fixed last year. 4 of them played. 2 semi-finals played. It tells me the respect that the clubs had for the late Brian Butler as well, and it tells me about the level of organisation in the East Board.
Yeah, certainly, and as I say, congratulations to all involved, and particularly those as well for organising it. We shouldn't forget their efforts even to continue to bring those awards. So Matt, we'll turn attention to on-field activity now. We'll start this week with Camogie, another positive weekend for Limerick Camogie. 3 wins out of 3, junior, senior, and indeed the minor team all picking up wins. I was in Kilmallock on Saturday afternoon to see the seniors swat down away. The early signs, it's the early season, but the early signs, Matt, are positive for both senior and junior Limerick Camogie at the moment.
They are, Tom, and it's fantastic. It's just absolutely fantastic. This time last year we were worrying about relegation, and the worry of relegation didn't dissipate until the last round when we beat Offaly in McNeville Park. Now that is safely off the agenda. We have a headache of a different kind, a headache that we would like, and it's to reach the final and win promotion. And at the way we're going, we're certainly going in the right direction. I read a piece last week, and I kind of sniggered at it. No, I thought it was this week actually, and I kind of sniggered at it. It was because Dublin played Wexford in the first round down in Oulart, and whoever was previewing it as a meeting of the promotion favourites.
Right.
Nobody told no mention of Joe Quaid and his girls, and sure Joe isn't worried about it. He won't take offence with that. All Joe is worried about is how his girls perform week after week, and from what we've seen in the first 2 rounds, very, very, very satisfactory. Very, very satisfactory. Comprehensive win over Kerry, comprehensive win over Down. And look, people can say, right, it's only Kerry, it's only Down, but the girls can only play what is put in front of them. And I just remind people, and I reminded them this week in the paper that it's only 12 months ago since Limerick met Down at Leitrim Fontenoys and got a comprehensive beating. So that will tell you where we have come in the last 12 months. Now, Down have regressed a small bit. They've lost a couple. I named them last week: Niamh Mallon, Lauren Clark, Catherine McGourty.
Yeah.
But, it shouldn't make that difference. So it will just tell you how we're going. But I say again, the return of the 5 or 6 absentees has been absolutely immense. Like if you come in there and you're a manager and you're handed Sarah Carey, you're handed Devil Egan, Caoimhe Lyons, Rebecca DeLee, Niamh Ryan, all top class players, and by God, they're showing it, as you probably saw on Saturday.
Yeah, certainly.
They're leading. They're leading from the front. Now they go to Parnell Park on Saturday, and I'm very more than hopeful that they'll win in Parnell Park.
Yeah,
and that they'll make it 3 from 3. And the big thing about it is, Tom, is that it will virtually certainly put them in the final, because they have Antrim away in the penultimate game, and Antrim were beaten by 50-something points by Wexford last Saturday, because Antrim Camogie is in turmoil behind the scenes at the moment. And my understanding, it was nothing more than a club side that faced Wexford. I can remember that happening with Antrim before, when they came down to Bruff one day, and it was mainly a club side that came down because there was turmoil again behind the scenes. But that's got nothing to do with it. They still were able to muster a team to beat Down, but only just, in the first round. So I would be confident if we get out of Parnell Park with a result, that we're quite capable of going on and beating Antrim, in which scenario we'd be into the final with Wexford, and we'd be meeting Wexford at a Limerick venue in the final round.
Right.
So that should be interesting. There's an interesting scenario developing here in this, in that you could be possibly playing Wexford twice in a row, one in the group stages and one in the final proper. And like, getting to the final would be such a contrast and such a change about from last year, where you were depending on beating Offaly on the last day, or else we'd have been in 2A. Yeah. But as I say, the influx of the players has made a huge, huge difference. Now, the juniors had their expected win over Antrim.
Yeah, you were saying that last week. You would have been surprised if there was anything but a Limerick win. But again, they went and took care of business.
They took care of business. Antrim were competitive in the first half. I think, reading reports from Antrim, they were surprised how competitive they were, to be 2-8 to 1-4, only down at halftime, but the floodgates opened after halftime. But Ella Hessian of Monaleen is blazing a trail. I think she's got 6 goals and maybe 6 points from play in the 3 games to date, which is phenomenal. Yeah. If there was nobody on you, you'd hardly do it.
I certainly wouldn't anyway, mate.
Yeah, and I certainly wouldn't, Tom, anyway. But she's the go-to player for scores. But I mentioned at the outset of this competition, before Limerick embarked on the league campaign, Tom, I think I said it to you here in this medium, that David Deedy has named a 32 strong squad, 22 of which were with him last year. Yeah. So, and I think I said at the time, like, that what was very important for Limerick was continuity. No, they played in the campaign to date. They played Dublin, lost to Dublin unluckily by a single point now, 114 to 3-7 on a day in which Dublin scored 1-9 from frees. So that is something that can be rectified. They subsequently hammered Down. Subsequently, again, they hammered Antrim. So, as I explained last week, there are 4 teams in the group. The group was nothing more than a seeding process. All 4 go through to the semi-final. Dublin will play Antrim in one semi-final. Limerick will play Down in the other semi-final. You'd wonder about the merit of it, given the one-sided games that it is. And my understanding is that Limerick have home advantage against Down, but that could change, because there's something about mileage, for a knockout game, that
distances and all the rest of it. Yeah,
a neutral venue comes into play. But we're in the semi-final, very, very hard, and we'll be looking at it in greater detail next week, Tom. Very, very hard to see us not making the final.
Yeah, no, definitely not. When you consider the margins of victory so far over Down and Antrim, you think Limerick are fairly well placed, I suppose, to book a place in that final.
Absolutely, and the first round defeat to Dublin might be a blessing in disguise now. And David Didi, have been speaking to him a couple of times recently, and I think he's pretty confident. Absolutely, he's very, very pleased with the way things are going, and I think he'll be pretty confident that on a rematch with Dublin, they'll be really up for it. And I'd say, why not?
Yeah, they certainly might have learned a lot in that 1 point defeat on opening weekend. Matt, the Miners 9 points to 6 on Sunday afternoon, winners against Clare. Popped over to I think I mentioned at the start of the year when Limerick beat Clare in hurling, I said it's nice to get one over the banner. The Camogie Miners following in suit. Another Limerick win over Clare. We don't dismiss them at all around the place. We like to see them, and the Miners up and running in the. Isn't it the Shield, the minor All-Ireland Minor Shield?
It is the All-Ireland Minor A Shield Championship.
Yes.
For just to explain to viewers and listeners, the All-Ireland Championship, you have the top 6 counties seeded in the All-Ireland Championship, and the Minor Shield A Shield is the next 6 counties in the country.
Yeah.
Now, we reached the final of it last year and were beaten by Antrim in Croke Park. Now, we went to Whitegate last Sunday and beat Clare. Now, I'm definite about this, but I may be subject to correction by what I'm going to add. It's definitely 3 championship wins in a row against Clare Miners.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was at the first 2 in the group stage in Kilmallock last year. Limerick beat them. And then that set up a semi-final the following week with Clare and Clonmel.
Yeah.
And we'll try and figure that one out, Tom. But we beat them again anyway. You don't have any problem in figuring that bit of it out. But it could be 4 wins now. I might be subject to correction, 4 wins in a row, but it's definitely 3. I'll stand over that. Now last Sunday, it was a goalless game. It was 4 points to 3 at half time. Clare equalised at after half time 4-all, went to 5-all, and then Limerick put on a spurt and got 4 points in a row. Now, it was obviously low scoring, 9 points to 6. First round of the championship, Tom, there is one objective: get off to a winning start.
Yeah.
And the girls now, they have about 10 of the panel that were involved last year, including 3 straight down the middle. Ciara Buckley is at centre half back from Monaleen. She was cornerback last year. And Donna Kenny, who was corner forward and who is the captain from Croke Kilfinny, she's centre forward. And Roisin O'Brien from Patrickswell, she was centre forward last year. She's gone in full forward, and she's the daughter of well-known referee Kevin O'Brien. And a very, very good player. But they've that backbone down the middle. So, but they're very, very good players. Besides that, they've Ellie Madden, they've Poppy Giltinan, Emma Mullins, who captained Limerick under 16s to win the Munster Championship last year. They're a good side now. And they should get an opportunity this Sunday to get a bit of momentum into their campaign, because they're welcoming Roscommon to the Maguire's Field in UL, which will in round 2. And it's going to be played on grass. You asked me the question off air. It's being played on grass there. And for the life of me, I can't figure out who Roscommon played in the first round. I can't get any details of it.
Right.
You know,
if you can't get it, Matt,
I'm snookered, but I'm not that worried who they played, for the simple reason that I believe that Limerick should be getting the better of Roscommon if they're serious about this competition.
Yeah, and hopefully in a week's time we'll be talking about 2 from 2. But I think it's key, Matt, that you mentioned the spine of the team. Very important at minor. We see it in the male side of things. If you have 2 or 3 players from the previous year with that experience, I know these players are very young. They're all still learning. There's no player is the finished article, but it's always important when you have 2 or 3 players with the experience of the previous year, you know.
But what struck me now, and I saw him quite a bit last year, I was at their games, Paul Neenan of Drummond and Tony Donovan there are the managers, joint managers and their management team. But the level of preparation, the camaraderie that they had developed in the squad, I think was most admirable. You know, and I've no doubt it's the same. It's the same. I hope to catch up with them before the campaign is out. It's the same this year, and it augurs well for Limerick minors. Like Niamh Brennan has made the transition already this year. She was very good last year, and as I said, it's very, very important that the conveyor belt is in good shape, and I'm quite satisfied that it's in very good shape actually.
Yeah, very good. And best of luck to the minors on Sunday, 2 p.m. as Matt said, in the UL South Campus, if you like, the Maguire's Fields, which is relatively near the running track in UL. If you're not overly familiar with the campus, that's where you're headed for that one, 2 p.m. on Sunday. Matt, we'll switch from Camogie to hurling, and I suppose no action for the Limerick senior team last weekend, but we're now looking ahead to a game in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. By the time Limerick play on Saturday evening, Matt, it'll be 273 days since they last played in the Gaelic grounds and counting. 273 and counting, I should say. So the frustrations, Matt, that I've seen online, I've seen in person, I've heard from people on the street, the frustration of no home game. Look, there's plenty of reasons for it, I think. But can you sympathise with supporters who've have gone to Croke Park since the Munster final? That's when Limerick last played at the Gaelic grounds in hurling. They've gone to Croke Park for 2 championship games. They've gone for a league game. They've gone to where else have we gone? We've gone to Mullingar.
Gone to Mullingar.
We've gone to Clare Castle and also to Mallow for a postponed game and other bits and pieces around the place. Can you understand the frustration of those who, I suppose, are paying a lot of money to see Limerick and follow Limerick around the place, that maybe there's no game on their doorstep?
Yeah, I totally sympathise with him. Not that my sympathy is much good to him at this stage, but we're looking at a scenario, Tom, and your statistic, has astounded me of 273 days since a green jersey ran onto the Gaelic grounds. We're looking at a scenario, Tom. If there's news for you, that it could be longer.
Yeah,
it's counting, as you said there, and to be counting fast, because I understand there's a shroud of doubt about the possibility of Limerick playing Galway in their final game there. And I have the whisper, but I don't pay too much attention to whispers. I rely on facts. The whisper being that the game could possibly be in Pearse Stadium in Galway.
Yeah, so might have conceded home advantage entirely there. Yeah.
Yeah, that is not going to help the mood of the Limerick supporters. And the supporters and the players and John Kiley and his management team have never failed yet to acknowledge the role of the supporters.
Yeah.
They're one of the main stakeholders in this great Limerick odyssey. And like I have seen over the years through thick and thin, I would argue with anyone, that we have the best supporters in the country. No doubt. Through thick and thin. And God knows there was an awful lot of 10 years. And they stuck with it, and they're getting that award now. And it's most disappointing. Now, I don't know the situation with the Gaelic grounds. I have to accept that if it is under reconstruction and that, there are bigger games down the line, which they must have it in ship shape for. I get all that.
Well, Matt, can I just intervene there? And just to the people who are not saying, how is the pitch unplayable? As I said, it hasn't been played on for so long. Now, obviously, I was saying nearly 280 days, we'll say, between senior inter-county hurling matches. So we obviously had club championship games there. And then we would have had Munster club game for Ballygunner and the Pearse was played there. Then we had the Limerick senior football final played there in an absolute deluge of rain, which certainly did not help the condition of the pitch. The pitch obviously was relayed 12 months previous. There's a deluge of rain there. I know the contractor and obviously the staff there will be working around the clock effectively to try and fix this. But then, I suppose to make it worse, the Munster Senior Football club final between Castlehaven and you remind me, who was it? Went to penalties. I can't remember.
Dingle.
Yeah. The Cork and Kerry game that was played in Limerick. It was on TG Carr, and part of me, it's my own personal opinion, is that because it was on TG Carr, there's a slowness to postpone games. We saw that recently with an All-Ireland semi-final played under fog. So the weather, it was played during a storm. There was rain, going down for the 60 plus minutes. Then there was an extra time period, and then there was penalties. And the pitch hasn't been played on since. Such was the damage by those two games in particular, I believe. That's my theory on it anyway. The pitch hasn't been repaired. We've had a bad winter of rain, bad weather, very little dryness. We're seeing it with pitches all over. Kilmallock, was hanging on for dear life last weekend for the Camogie, and credit to them for making the pitch available. McNeville Park was only able to host one game last weekend. The weather is not something that the Limerick County Board can control. I will certainly give them that. But I suppose that the frustration is there. The supporters went to Thurles 2 weeks in a row for the Dillon Cork game and then for the Westmeath game. And I suppose the fact that there's possibility now that, and I've seen some people online already question and they've jumped to conclusions a bit like we're doing here to say, where will Limerick play Galway? And it's understandable because people have to make plans. St. Patrick's weekend, they have kids, they have other plans, other involvements. They want to know, am I going to the Gaelic Grounds, or am I going to Salt Hill, or am I going to Ennis, or where am I going to see Limerick play Galway? Because they might have their season ticket, they have their ticket spot, they want to go, their kids want to go, they're mad to go and get autographs from Cian Lynch and all the rest of it. Who wouldn't be? But there's a bit of uncertainty, and clarity would be the first thing. What if it's bad news? Well, we want to know it, unfortunately. But it would be better to know it than to be, as we're doing now, speculating over.
Speculating, and we just hope that the speculation is without foundation. But you see, it's the supporters being hit again, and I was inundated at one stage last year, Tom, and you were probably too. And I said it here with your predecessor, Jack, that like there was 4 or 5 senior games. There was definitely 4 senior games on one day at the same time.
Yeah.
And season ticket holders were complaining, and
this is club championship, Matt. Is it Limerick Senior Hurling Championship?
Yeah, and
certainly a Friday evening with 4 of them on at once. Yeah, all at the same time.
And they were complaining to me in person mainly, but one fella rang me up very angry on the phone, and I asked him why was he ringing me. It is the county board he should be ringing, that I don't make the fixtures, But I don't know why we're on the firing line for these things, because we're as much in the dark as everybody else as to what's going on. But I just heard that whisper today, and as I say, whispers are whispers, but sometimes they have an uncanny knack of having truth and reality in them, So, but getting on, we're heading for Cork on Saturday evening anyway. Heading with the old enemy. It's if you look at it in the context of the league, 2 unbeaten teams, 2 teams that are virtually assured, without doubt, of being involved in finishing in the top 3 of the group, and will therefore be involved in the. I think they're absolutely certain, actually, because both of them have the head-to-head on Dublin, and neither Westmeath nor Antrim can catch them because they're on a maximum of 4 points. So, and they have to meet each other. So they're virtually assured of a place in the first division next year. So that's that part of part 1. Part 2 is the winner on Saturday night is absolutely assured actually of a place in the National Hurling League semi-final.
Yeah, well,
so in terms of the league, the stakes are high on Friday evening, on Saturday evening even, So it will be very, very interesting. Now, Tipperary have overcome probably a sterner test than Limerick have, because they have beaten Galway in Thurles, who would be regarded as the 3rd most likely team to move up to the top grade next year. And Limerick have had wins over Antrim, more or less routine. Got a bit of a test from Westmeath, but were never really in danger. But Limerick's performance against Dublin, Tom, was one for the ages. Again, get to Croke Park, put Limerick in Croke Park, and you have something awesome, imperious when they get to Croke Park. But overall, it was the performance. And John Kiley has worked it very, very well during the course of this campaign. The way he has brought back the All-Ireland 15, the All-Ireland starting 15, and those that were involved in the All-Ireland team, he has brought them back in stages. There are now only 3 starters from the All-Ireland final that haven't featured in the league this year, or haven't featured at all this year.
Cian Lynch.
Cian Lynch, Aaron Gillan, and Peter Casey.
Peter Casey, yes.
So you'd be expecting those, 1 or 2 of those to make an appearance anyway. And then you have the situation with Sean Finn, who is rapidly closing in on a return, thankfully. And you have Declan Hannon.
Yeah.
So, it'll be very, very interesting to see what lineup John would come up with on Saturday evening. Now, I've stopped a long time ago second guessing John Kiley.
Yeah.
A long time ago, because I have found that to be futile.
Yeah.
But you'd have to say there's a compelling argument for the inclusion of Donegal O'Daly, because this is Limerick's biggest test in the league so far, and the guy has scored 3 goals and 12 points, all from play in 3 games.
Yeah. Let's put him against...
He's got 2-1, and he's got 7 points, he's got 2-1, and he's got 1-4.
Yeah, let's put him against one of the top 6 teams in the country, basically. That's
my point. That's my point. And he will relish that opportunity as well, and to give John a sense of, he certainly has made the step up to inter-county senior, but to what degree we'll have to see. Now, if Declan Hannon isn't selected, and I suppose it's unlikely probably at this stage, and if David Reedy is available, it'll be very interesting to see what the centre-back half-back choice will be.
Yeah.
Will it be David Reedy? Will it be Cathal O'Neill? On the 3 games that we've had to date, both have made strong claims for the number 6 shirt in the absence of Declan Hannon. But again, as I've said, this is the toughest test. And it'll be interesting to see how they will fare up against the toughest test. Probably John McGrath, centre-forward, maybe for Tipperary. Tests don't come much better than that. So, his selection process will be interesting. I think that you'll probably see 1 or 2 of those that haven't featured yet featuring.
Yeah, another partner since the
and he has certainly used his resources very, very well over this present league campaign. Now, Tipperary, they are absolutely craving to get a win over Limerick.
Yeah,
they have come so near that Munster final comeback, even last year's league semi-final comeback. But they seem, Tipperary this year are a different animal to what they were last year, from what I've seen already. They're a better team, and I think Liam Cahill is beginning to put his stamp on his team, and they are basically his team now. And he has included quite a few of the players that he used to win 2 All-Irelands, 1 under 20 and 1 under 21.
Yeah.
So both lineouts are going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be a very, very interesting game. As I've said, what the permutations are, the winner will probably go direct to the semi-final. It doesn't mean that the loser is out, because Limerick have Galway in the final game, and
Tipperary have
Antrim. Yeah.
Just with there's no fear, Matt, with this game, and I'm nearly answering the question for you, but there's no fear with this game. We saw Clare last year when they played Limerick. I think was it maybe around 2 or 3. I think the phrase I've heard used was they pulled up the handbrake when they came into the Gaelic grounds. We were inside in the press box, myself, probably scrambling for teams. There was 4 or 5 changes. Tony Kelly was taken out of the 26, 1 or 2 others like that, and they let Limerick just walk all over them. They didn't really care about the result. There's no fear of that here with Tipperary, I hope, is there? I think maybe you mentioned it there. Tipperary want to beat Limerick. They drew with them last year in the Munster Championship. Psychologically, I'd say Liam Cahill wants even to beat Limerick himself, because, you know, when he was Waterford manager, he came close a couple of times, but ultimately couldn't get over the line. So I think maybe Tipperary need a win over Limerick, just to maybe instill another few percentage of belief that they can beat Limerick when it really matters.
Yeah, you know, and that Liam Cahill can put it on this team's CV. You have had a win over the All Ireland champions, you know. But you a clash of two titans here, with two different attitudes. Tipperary desperate, and I mean desperate, for a win over Limerick, and Limerick desperate not to be beaten by Tipperary.
Yeah,
you know, it cuts both ways, you know. And this is a Limerick team, you know, that do not countenance defeat.
Yeah.
So any question of pulling handbrakes or pulling any kind of brakes, I don't think is on, you know.
No, and I think if you look at Limerick last year, people thought they weren't taking the league seriously, and lo and behold, they won it. So maybe, you know, they're thinking, what are they doing? They were obviously doing an awful lot of things right. They ended up winning. Did they win every game en route, I think, as well? Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting one on Saturday. And just to pick up your point,
they lost the opening game last year to Cork by a point.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, yeah. And after that, then
it was very interesting last year. Cork and Limerick met 3 times, and Cork won by a point in the Munster Senior League and in the National Hurling League, and they lost by a point in the one that mattered, the Munster Senior Hurling Championship.
Yeah. But just to pick up one point about the team selection, and we could be made fools of if we predicted a 15 right like that at this point.
Tom, I won't go down that road.
But just the O'Donnell point, and we've probably been beating this drum for ages. He's thrown another cat amongst the pigeons, or whatever the cliche is, to say you now have Seamus Flanagan, Peter Casey, Aaron Gillan, Shane O'Brien, Adam English, and Donncha O'Donnell vying. That's 6 I've named there. 6 vying for 3, and then there's probably other alternatives there. Maybe that, you know, Kyle Hayes could be used in there, Boylan could be used in there potentially as other, you know, alternatives. Grod Hegarty maybe, if you were to really mix things up. But O'Donnell now has thrown it amongst the team, because a lot of people would have said Adam English, Shane O'Brien are ahead of him. Certainly coming out of 20s, they were probably ahead of him. But now O'Donnell has maybe, you know, he's jumped ahead in the queue, like he's cut the corner a little bit maybe on the two of them, and has put his hand up that little bit higher. You know, it's great to see. You know, it's what will make Limerick continue to have success, when we have guys that are, you know, standing out. Even at this point of the year, you know, he may not even feature in the championship, but he's certainly driving the whole thing on.
Well, he's certainly driving the whole thing on, and you know, it is a lovely cat to be among the pigeons, you know, and you know, what you've named there, the options in the full forward line, but of course, you know that there's the versatility of Adam English. You can play him midfield, you can play him in the half forward line, you can play him anywhere, but to have that kind of talent available on top of the 15 that blew Kilkenny out of Croke Park last year is just simply phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you've Colin Coughlin, who will be back looking to get back on after the Fitzgibbon Cup, you know, Fergal O'Connor, all these players, like, you know, there's a whole raft of them there.
Yeah, there certainly is, and I think depth in every line is what's going to be key for Limerick, because as they've learned, and thankfully they haven't tripped up so far, but as they've learned each year, invariably an injury will come back, whether it was Cian Lynch a couple of years ago, it's Peter Casey. Obviously, nearly 3 years ago now, we've had Richie English. The injury list it hasn't been too kind to Limerick. I know they're not the only county that's had injuries, but certainly they need depth, because you never know who's going to go down. Obviously,
if we were having a conversation about the Munster Championship of 2023 and the Munster All-Ireland Championship, this time 12 months, you know, and somebody said to you, you know, fantastic that Cian Lynch was back and we were able to weather the storm without him, which was phenomenal. But if in the same breath somebody said to you, but you're going to be missing Sean Finn for most of the championship, and you're going to be missing Declan Hannon for a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
I know.
know, you'd
Yeah,
be saying to yourself, yeah. Now we'll see the strength of our panel. But by
yeah,
God, we did it, and we see the options that John is creating for centre half back.
mm.
You know, you've Declan Hannon, you have David Reedy, who's got a run there. You've Cathal O'Neill, and we didn't
William
mention
O'Donoghue.
Willem O'Donoghue at all,
Yeah, yeah.
who was simply phenomenal in the All Ireland final.
And if there ever was a massive rejig, I think Dan Morrissey wouldn't look too strange in the number 6 jersey either.
No,
If things were ever to have to unfold that way. But anyway,
it's a key position.
yeah, Saturday evening, we'll see what comes up with the team. We'll see what comes up with the game. Hopefully, it's a cracker. Páirc Uí Chaoimh, I suppose, a unique venue for a league game between Limerick and Tipperary, but nevertheless, it is what it is. And
a unique time, 7:35.
Yeah, 7:35 live on RTE2 television and I believe live on Live 95 as radio as well. So that's the hurling in terms of intercounty. Matt, you were the predictor of great things from Monaleen Junior B hurlers. Your predictions were accurate. You were beating that drum for many a week that they were going to get over the line after the Munster final heartbreak, and they did exactly that, getting the better of Drummond in the Limerick and Tipperary game last week. So congratulations to Monaleen, All Ireland.
Absolutely.
Winners. Were you at this game? I can't recall talking to you about it, but
no, I saw 2 games. I saw the Munster final and I saw the semi-final, but I missed last week. Unfortunately, right. I had somebody there, but just to put it into context, they're only the second team from Limerick to win it. As I explained last week, Doon won it in 2015, but like Monaleen, they had been beaten in the Munster final by Killinall, and they reversed it in the All Ireland final. And now Monaleen are after doing the same. And if you go by the Munster final, you know, from what I saw in the Munster final, the winning margin last Saturday was just about right, 8 points, because there, you know, if you were giving points based on performance in the Munster final, you know, it was Monaleen's day, but Paul Kennedy had different ideas. He got 3 goals in injury time, and the Monaleen lost the final. But I came back here and I said the week after Monaleen would win the All Ireland, and I said it to some of the Monaleen lads themselves. And what impressed me an awful lot about Monaleen, I saw him in the All Ireland semi-final against Ballinasloe. You know, the manner of the defeat, more so than the defeat in the Munster final, was a very, very bitter pill to swallow, Tom. There's no doubt about that, you know. Very, very difficult. But the manner in which they got over it and came back and got over a very enthusiastic Ballinasloe side, they needed extra time to do it, but when they got him into extra time, there was no question at all about it, you know. They were the better team, and didn't set up the final. And I was confident from what I saw in the Munster final that if they could police and put the shackles on Mr. Kennedy like that, they'd win the All Ireland final. So I'm not a bit surprised, but also heartiest congratulations to him, because it's the second year in a row that Monaleen have won an All Ireland clubs. Yeah. They were All Ireland Intermediate champions last year, and they have been All Ireland Junior B this year. And there were a couple of players that were involved in the squad. They were subs last year and were on the extended panel. So I think I made the point last week that would be a help people through, and because in fairness to the Killeedy club, and they have to be congratulated, you know, for the manner in which they run the competition. But their All Ireland final is a mini All Ireland final. They try to replicate everything that happens in All Ireland final day with the band and everything. You know, it's a wonderful occasion. And, you know, the man that refereed last year's All Ireland senior hurling final refereed the Junior B final last Saturday, John Keenan from Wicklow.
Oh, yeah.
So, look, heartiest congratulations to Monaleen. Congratulations to Killeedy on another wonderful competition. It was absolutely fantastic, and I'm absolutely delighted for Monaleen, and of course I'm delighted that at least on the GAA Cup there's a second Limerick name.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's hopes around the county this year that whoever's in the Junior B Championship could replicate that and go all the way. So congratulations to Monaleen, as you said, first Limerick club now to win 2 All-Irelands.
Yes.
As well, so a nice little one to get. No other club can take that from them ever. They'll be the first team to do that from Limerick. Matt, an All-Ireland, maybe a bridge too far for our Sculreach in the Croke Cup, beaten in the semi-final in Bancha. St. Kieran's, by all accounts, a very strong St. Kieran's team, got the better of what we thought was an extremely talented our Sculreach team. But the disappointment of the Munster final, probably not far enough in the rear view mirror. Maybe they just couldn't raise themselves and found themselves on the wrong end of the result with St. Kieran's.
They did, and what I was reading up before the game, Tom, all that was coming back to me was that it was a very, very strong Kilkenny, St. Kieran's College Kilkenny team, and like they're through now to a 9th final in a row. And if there's any such thing as a weak St. Kieran's College team, I don't think there is. But we were speaking about the stellar cast that was in the Ard Sculreach team, and about 5 or 6 of last year's Clare All-Ireland minor winning team. And, you must remember now that, the way things have changed. If you were playing county minor, you were playing college, and it was much the same level. But, county minor is under 17 now. This is under 19, isn't it?
Yeah, under 19, yeah.
Yeah. And like I have learned in this campaign that it is far more fruitful and beneficial in terms of determining the strength of a particular team, that you look to the 2022 minors.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at the Kilkenny minors in the context of those that have played minor with Kilkenny in 2022 vis-a-vis and making the St. Kieran's team, there was 4 or 5 of them there, which means that they had an extra year on Ard Sculreach. And I'm not being apologetic for Ard Sculreach. It was an All-Ireland semi-final they were beaten, but I don't know, was it you expressed a reservation? I saw him a couple of times, and I thought, and I suppose I think I saw a couple of games with you, Tom, actually.
Yeah.
And it was their proclivity or propensity to drift out of a game. And we saw it graphically against Thurles CBS, and we saw it to a lesser extent against John the Baptist School and Hospital. Having been in a very, very strong position and then being caught up 8 points in 8 minutes in the Munster semi-final against Thurles CBS, all from play. You'd say to yourself, hell, what's happening here? And they had to depend on 2 late points to win the hurling match. It gave me a reservation, that there was something that they weren't able to maintain. And they were a fantastic team. In full flight, they were a fantastic team. That they weren't able to maintain the momentum for a full 60 minutes, which would be lethal going into a team against Kilkenny. And you can, as I said, you can say about all the minors, last year's minors, but 'tis the 2022 minors you should be looking at.
Yeah,
because they are a year older.
Big difference at this age, yeah.
Big difference. So very, very disappointed and very sorry for Ard Sculreach and their management team who had worked so hard during the year. And as I say, we saw some great moments of absolutely top-class play from them. But unfortunately, when it comes to the Croke Cup, St. Kieran's College Kilkenny are the specialists.
Yeah, definitely.
No doubt about it. 9 finals in a row, can't argue.
Yeah. There's to take a fair bit of stopping at that grade, and so we'll see how that final plays out. I think probably on St. Patrick's weekend. But another team into a final, thankfully with Limerick connections, is Sculpole Kilfinnan. They're into the All-Ireland C final after a win over Cistercian College in Roscrea. They'll face Coloshtavura Ballygar of Galway in the final. Date and venue are TBC, our famous 3 letters on this pod. And it's not my initials, TBC, Matt. But before we look at the final, a great win for them to get over the line. The semi-finals are for winning, and they went and got the job done.
And won it comprehensively, and every bit as comprehensively as 118 to 19, even more comprehensively than 118 to 19 in that Cistercian College in Roscrea only got a late goal. It was just kind of one for the road, bit of a consolation job. So it was 118 to 9 points. You're looking at a 12-point margin. Not terribly surprised, I have to say, Tom. But you never know the strength of Leinster, because they would have encountered Kilkenny teams and Wexford teams to get to where they were. They defeated Coloshtavura from Dublin in the Leinster final. But we'd be slightly worried. And as I made the point last week about they're a boarding school, and they had a huge catchment of players available to them as a result. As I said, the goalkeeper was from Kildare, you had a lad from Laois, you had 1 or 2 from Offaly, you had fellas from Kilkenny, fellas from Galway. Like, there was a big spread. But I left the Munster final when Sculpole defeated Glanmire in the Leinster final. I left it absolutely convinced that it would take a very, very good team to beat Sculpole Kilfinnan. They are a very, very good team, Tom. Very, very strong, very, very strong in the important areas. Some very, very, very good hurlers. Very, very good hurlers. And I'm a small bit slow about naming names in Sculpole for the simple reason that there's quite a contingent from my own club, but they're certainly doing my own club proud, like Darren Froon with 6 points last Saturday, Adam Froon with 1-1, that type of a contribution. Shane Fitzgibbon at centre back from Drummond Glacka, absolutely incredible. Dahi Dennehy from Glenroe midfield, Christian O'Gorman from Charleville, full forward, joint captain, James Philpott from Blackrock, full back. But I'm naming the players down the middle. But Kieran O'Riordan of Effin, but it's the players on the wing. They are very, very, very strong. They have players that are coming off the bench. Like Adam Froon is a Limerick minor. He's on the Limerick minor squad. He's coming off the bench. That'll give you an idea, and making an impact off the bench. As we can see, if you can get a guy, bring him off the bench, he gets you a goal and a point. You're in La La Land, actually. You're in dreamland, actually. So like Anthony Punch and Paddy McCarthy from Camogie Rovers and Eddie Kiley of Doon make up the management team, and they've done a fantastic job in coaching the team. And I was convinced anyway, and I'm still convinced that it will take a very, very good team to beat Sculpole, because of the configuration of the team as such, and where they have the strong players, and they have scoring power. Yeah. So that is hugely important when you go into the concluding stages of colleges hurling. Now, my understanding is, and this is the latest that I heard being around the place this evening, is that the game is more than likely, but not definitely, on Friday.
Right, Friday the 15th of March, yeah.
Yeah, but no surprise whatsoever, there's no venue.
TB&C,
which is
what county is that in, right?
Because the 3 lads that I mentioned, their players, the school community, their parents, the community are all hyped up about this now. And and we'll be talking about it in greater depth next week, as we know, and maybe have a representative on. But like, you're going into an All-Ireland final, possibly 8 days away, 9 the most, and you've no idea what has been played. You're not certain whether it is on Friday or Saturday, and nor you don't know the time.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
I feel like we've been down this road before.
Yeah. I'm not going to do my head in about this thing anymore.
No.
Because we the same thing with the Camogie. We only found out last night that Limerick Camogie were playing in Maguire's Field, and that the seniors were playing in Parnell Park.
Yeah.
Every Monday morning you probably have it. I have it anyway. An email from the Ladies Football Association with all the fixtures down for the week. No ifs, ands, buts, or TBCs or any BCs.
Yeah.
I cannot understand why the Camogie Association. Now, give them a small bit of latitude in that the weather has been very bad.
Yeah.
And there is a reluctance in some clubs. I don't know why. They keep them for hurling and they don't want to give them to Camogie and all this sort of thing. That nonsense. Hopefully, that will all be brought to an end with the integration at the start of 2027.
Yeah. Okay. Well, nevertheless, Skullpole Kilfinnan will have an All-Ireland final next weekend. That's at 15th or 16th, it seems like, against Kalashnikov of Ballygar in Galway. So we'll see what the fixture details are, and we'll bring them to you when we have them. But an exciting time.
I hope, Tom, when we convene next week to do the podcast, that we'll know where the match is on.
Well, I sure hope the players at least will know where it is at that point. But anyway. I'd say they go to the moon.
People have to be making travel arrangements for this and everything. Like it's
certainly, yeah. It's logistics of trying to bring buses of 5th and 4th, 5th and 6th years or whoever's going to the game from the school. I'd say there's be teachers and administrators pulling their hair out if they don't have a venue, trying to decide all that. But that brings an end to the hurling chat for this week. The football match. I was in McNeville Park last Saturday evening. Clare were reeled back in by Limerick, but they stepped on the gas again, and it's 5 defeats now on the bounce in the Alliance League for Limerick. Limerick, Matt, they just left themselves with too much to do, and maybe that's a simple way of putting it. I think were they 9? Did they have 9 down at halftime? 111 to 5 points.
Correct.
Simply wasn't good enough in a lot of sectors in the first half. Too many turnovers, too many mistakes, and that's I'm nearly quoting Jimmy Lee saying that. But they've left themselves at the point of no return now. It's 2 games left with Wicklow and Offaly. Need maximum points, and even then might need another twist from Antrim even to survive that. But where do we go from here? 5 defeats on the bounce.
Well, I said I think about 3 matches back, Tom. That I saw difficulties, and I did make the point at the time. It may not be the end of the world. Were we to go down to Division 4, we have half a new panel. We have a new management team. It takes time to get those 2 together, and I think there has been measurable improvement over the last 2 games. Like, it was a very, very creditable performance against Westmeath. It's not, and a creditable performance against Clare. You must remember that's Clare's 4th win in the league, Tom.
Yeah.
They've 8 points from 5 games.
Clare and Westmeath are both vying for promotion now. It's
both vying for promotion. We were up there with, and as I said a couple of weeks ago, if we are to go down, if we go down fighting, it augurs well for coming back up again. And that is certainly what we're doing. Like, Jimmy Lee and his management team are working overtime to try and turn this around. The players are putting in a huge effort to turn this thing around, and some of this narrative that I see is, as you spoke about, home venues and all that sort of thing. Nonsense. Where Jimmy Lee, his management team and his squad are doing their best to arrest this. And it has proved difficult. Now, all is not lost, as you said. There is nothing the 2 wins, couldn't rectify.
Yeah.
Now, for instance, Wicklow are after taking a couple of drubbings, one after
Five,
another.
they conceded
Clare and Offaly.
5-15, yeah. They conceded
Yeah.
5-15 to Offaly, who Offaly hadn't won a game up to this point.
Yeah.
So that's where Limerick are going next, up to Ockram, I think, isn't it? To place Wicklow.
Up to Ockram, yeah. Up
So
to
if you think things are bad in Limerick, I tell you, Wicklow would certainly challenge that. They've, as you say, shipped some drubbings. At least Limerick have been competitive. Was it 5 points last weekend? They were in the football match up until 60, 67, 68 minutes. Wicklow, this is the one that will tell a tale for me with regards to Limerick. Where they are today.
There's one permutation anyway, Tom, that we can get out of the way and lose the match and we're down.
Yep.
There's any doubt at all about that,
Lose or draw, actually. It has to be a win.
I draw even, I don't think a draw would be, no, I don't think so.
Well, a draw and Offaly losing to Antrim would keep it alive, all right. But
keep it alive. Look, we're down to fine margins at this stage, and it's like the stark reality of it is Limerick's survival is contingent on winning 2 football matches away from home next week in Ockram and the following week in Tullamore. Yeah. But I'm not awfully despondent, Tom. I'm not awfully despondent because I see a decent effort being made by everybody concerned.
Yeah. I think Limerick are in a good position to win this match against Wicklow. Now, the Offaly one, we shall see. I suppose one might feed the narrative to the other, but I think Limerick are well placed now to beat Wicklow. The problem I see is Limerick they've put 2 wins beside their name in 2 years in all competitions, effectively. Someone might say I'm slightly off with that, but in the league and championship in 24 months, Limerick have won 2 games. So winning, as we know, Matt, is a habit, as the old cliche goes. But knowing how to win at this level is not something all these players are exposed to. So that is my concern going into the Wicklow game. That do Limerick know how to, if they're 2 points up in stoppage time, will they know how to see it out? And look, maybe not of these guys have done it with their club and have done it with Limerick down the years. So maybe the experienced guys will stand up. But that's maybe my concern. I think Limerick have the beatings of Wicklow. They played them last year in the Tailteann Cup in a dead rubber game in the height of summer. I was nearly sweating watching them from the stand. It was so hot that day. That won't be an issue in this occasion, and it's certainly not a dead rubber. Limerick can actually relegate Wicklow in the process, and I suppose Wicklow have just come up from Division 4, and it look fairly likely to be heading straight back down. Even if they win this match against Limerick, they're probably doomed anyway, because if they're head to head with Offaly and their scoring difference is in real trouble. So they're fairly likely to be gone. But Wicklow went up, Matt, with Limerick in 2020, and as far as I remember, they went straight back down to Division 4, whereas Limerick, I could be wrong with that particular part. Limerick stabilised in Division 3 and then in 2021 and then went up again, whereas Wicklow were,
went up again. And I all the time felt, even though it was fantastic to get up to Division 2, I felt that if we had an extra year in Division 3, it was a phenomenal achievement to get up. And when you have the momentum, you've got to keep going. That an extra year would have done Limerick a power of good, for the challenges that they'd face. And of course, the scheduling of the fixtures in Division 2 could not have been more challenging. I travelled to Derry in the first round and didn't face, who in the second round,
Yeah, the Dubs, yeah. Just to pick up, I suppose, the point as well, and I'm guilty sometimes of wasting time reading people online. And look, I know what you were going to say about them, but just maybe people out there who are silent about this might be saying, what's going on in Limerick football, right? Limerick don't have the depth of talent that they have at hurling. There isn't as many people dedicating their time to it. Obviously, football is more competitive, as in there's 31 or 32 counties playing it, whatever way you look at it. Right. So they're way down the road. And also, I mean, there's nothing Jimmy Lee can do and his management can do to make it more attractive than, this is my opinion of anyway. Look, will you play football for Limerick? Yes or no? And there's guys, I'm sure he has a list of guys who have said no, and I know Billy had it 5 or 6 years ago. What more can you do? It's not a soccer contract. He can't say, right, I'll put another 1,000 a week on it for you. If a fella doesn't want to commit because he's done it for 5 or 6 years and he wants to go traveling, or he wants to develop his career, or he wants to go back to college, or he wants to whatever it is, what can Jimmy do? Obviously he needs to make it attractive as he can, and needs to sell the scenario that you're an important player for the county, etc., etc. But there isn't an awful lot more he can do. If a fella doesn't want to play for Limerick, he won't want to play for Limerick. That's my read of it anyway.
That's it, that's it. And you're absolutely right, Tom, in your synopsis and your analysis of it. But it certainly isn't for the one to try on the part of Jimmy Lee, or not indeed on the part of his brother before, who I think got 52 refusals in 1 year.
Yeah, that actually is a good number of years ago, but it doesn't seem that long ago. It's 52.
It means what it tells us is the mindset hasn't changed a lot.
No. And look, I spoke to Jimmy after the game for Live 95 radio, and to say he was downtrodden, he wasn't cock of the walk, strolling out of the place, happy that Limerick had lost again. He looked, stressed over the scenario, and I think that'll tell you what it means to him. It's obvious what it means. If anyone here has had the pleasure of meeting Billy or Jimmy or even Joe or any of the other Lees, even their nieces and all the rest of it, or I tell you,
the Lees live and breathe Limerick football.
Yeah,
they absolutely live and breathe Limerick football.
So this will be hurting them.
Their contribution over the years has been just enormous. And this whole thing going on now, don't be annoying me now, Tom, because we're coming near the end of the podcast, and I'll be cross with the rest of the night. Because the hurlers on the ditch and the keyboard warriors, what I say to them is get lost.
Yeah. And I think Limerick are, after the last couple of performances, are well placed to give Wicklow a right game, and hopefully collects a first win in the league for almost 2 years. Matt, there's another game on this weekend.
It's not the end of the world, as I said. It is not the end of the world.
Yeah, certainly not. No.
There'll be brighter days ahead, and I can see Jimmy Lee. He's getting to know his players. Maybe he'll get a couple of players back, and that come if they go down to Division 4 in a worst case scenario, I think Limerick will be able to rebuild from the bottom. And sometimes it's the place. Derry had to do it.
Yeah, and look at him now. Yeah,
look at him now.
Certainly, and even the likes of Laois and even I think Westmeath have been down. There's counties that maybe fancied themselves to be an awful lot higher in the pecking order. Even Cork a couple of weeks ago were maybe flirting. Up until last weekend, were flirting with coming down towards Division 3, and
it's not too long. Cork are not too long out of Division 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So look, we'll see what way this comes. Another football game worth mentioning this weekend, Matt, is Tarbert Comprehensive against St. Malachy's of Down. And I know people say Tarbert Comprehensive, sure, that's in Kerry, but there's obviously being on the border, there's a healthy overlap of Limerick players. This is an All-Ireland Colleges C final. It is to be played in Dr. Cullen Park in Carlow, 2 p.m. on Saturday. And Matt, I've since found the panel, and there is a healthy Limerick involvement. Stephen Carney of St. Senan's Fines, of course, he is the team goalkeeper. You have Callum Buckley, who we would have seen in the Limerick minor team. He's in a Tate club man. He's likely to be featured in the defensive part of the team. A certain Evan Curry, a name that stood out to us at minor level. Another Atay man is likely to be in the starting team. Obviously, I haven't the full starting team here, but just looking down through the panel, then other Limerick involvements. You've Darragh Milan of Gerald Griffin's, who was a substitute in the semi-final. You've Jack Finnerty McCoy, who actually sent me the team list. He's another Gerald Griffin's man, and James Broderick of Atay, I think one of the younger members of the panel as well. So he's another Atay man. So I think that covers off the Limerick involvement, certainly on the field of play. Just looking through the panel, a lot of Moyvan and Tarbert involvement, and in the backroom team, in management team, you have Seamus Delan of Glyn is also involved. Sean Moore is also of Glyn. Conor Wolfe, Killian Mulvihill, they're all listed as Glyn, and they're part of the management team. So best wishes to them. Obviously, they're flying the Kerry flag, but certainly a healthy Limerick involvement, and two talented men we saw with the Limerick Minors last year jump off the page there to me, Callum Buckley and Evan Curry. So
Evan Curry, absolutely outstanding midfielder, and the Darrell Darcy win last year, absolutely outstanding.
Yeah. And Callum Buckley heavily featuring heavily, I think, in the wing back position for Limerick, if my memory serves.
Took over the leadership when Aidan O'Shea missed a couple of games early on, and was a real leader on the field. A fantastic footballer, Evan Curry.
Yeah, so best wishes to all involved on that one at the weekend, 2 p.m. in Dr. Cullen Park this Saturday, All-Ireland Football Colleges C final. Matt, I think that brings us to the end of the men's football.
It doesn't quite bring us to the end, because our ladies footballers qualified for the National Football League Division 4 final. I was at it. It was on in TUS Midwest Grounds on Milish on Sunday. It was transferred at the last minute from Cooley Roo, and they got a stern test from Carlow, but after defeats to the top two, Leitrim and Fermanagh, it was a chance to play the team third in the table, and they passed the test. And are now facing to a semi-final where they will play Leitrim again, and Carlow will play Fermanagh, with the winners of both semi-finals being promoted.
Right.
So there's a substantial carrot there to win the game, and Limerick are within an hour of playing Division 3 football next year. It was an interesting game. Limerick got a great start. Debbie Murphy got a goal, and she was absolutely outstanding, unplayable, as was Maeve McNamara. The two of those, Cathy Mee was moved back again to centre half back, did extremely well there. And overall, as a team, it was a fantastic performance. And can I give a statistics, Tom? There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. But this is an absolute statistic. After the 7 games of the National Football League, the Limerick defence has conceded 62 points, which is the lowest in the league. The nearest to them were Fermanagh, who topped the group with 69. That speaks volumes for the Limerick defence, who have been absolutely, I've seen 4 or 5 of their games, have been absolutely outstanding throughout. But as I said, Debbie Murphy got a goal. And at one stage, Limerick they were winning by 1-5 to 2 points at one stage. Now they had the aid of a breeze, and Carlow got a goal. Or it was 1-5 to 3 points. Carlow got a goal. To me, and I haven't green mist in my eyes, it was a controversial goal, because the referee consulted with his umpires before awarding it, and the reason he consulted with his umpires was because of a suspicious square infringement. Yeah. She was right in on top of the goalkeeper, and I didn't see her going in, but the goal stood anyway. And between the hopping and the trotting at halftime, it was Limerick 1-5, Carlow 1-4. Didn't look that great, in that you were 1 point up, you had to face the breeze. But Tom, it was Limerick's best half hour that I've seen this year in the second half. They were absolutely outstanding. And they took the game by the scruff of the neck from the start. And at one stage were 4 points up, going down the home straight, but Carlow got 3 points. And Limerick were hanging on a bit. But they turned over deep in injury time. They turned Carlow over in Limerick's own half, worked the ball down the field, and Cameron O'Leary went on one of those runs, one of her trademark runs, which are a nuisance to any opposing defence, because she can make ground, and she slotted it over the bar for what was an insurance point, and a place in the semi-final against Leitrim. Yeah. And all right, people will say weren't they beaten by Leitrim a couple of weeks ago, 111 to 7 points? They were. But we're going into knockout football now. And we saw last year the difference between group stages and knockout football. Fermanagh were raging hot favourites to be in the All-Ireland final, but nobody told Limerick. They beat him above in Pierce Park in the semi-final. So what made me most happy about the whole thing, Tom, was the demonstrable improvement that Limerick showed. Particularly, what really impressed me was shortcomings that were evident the week before against Fermanagh, were addressed and successfully addressed. And I think if we can come up another step, another notch for the final or for the semi-final, that we're in with a right good chance.
Yeah, the semi-finals are slated for Sunday the 24th of March, so a couple of weeks for Limerick to, I suppose, rest.
There's a couple of weeks, and there's 3 weeks to work on. I was just talking to the management team afterwards and inquiring about knocks, and I think they're pretty happy that they will have a full squad to pick from, that other than a few minor knocks in the game against Carlow, it'll be all systems go.
Yeah, so the Sunday the 24th, Leitrim away, Matt, I believe. Leitrim finished higher in the group. Is that the...
I think it's neutral venue, Tom.
Or neutral, okay.
Football.
Yeah.
Now, there was Limerick connections and Carlow connections. I spoke with both of them. Were speculating that it may be a double header.
Right, okay.
It has been in the past, and I cautioned, certainly... I cautioned that optimism by saying that we're in a unique situation with regard to whether we're lucky to get one game played, not to mind two,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's 4 counties as well from the 4 different provinces. So I suppose where do you meet in the middle is the thing, isn't it? So we shall see.
Absolutely, and in fairness, I suppose there has to be latitude given to all the various GAA at the various levels, and what we've got to say is thank God for 3G pitches.
Yeah.
We'd have absolute chaos without them.
Yeah, no, definitely. There, some people criticise them in terms of injuries, but I tell you, we're getting some volume of games played this winter and spring because of them across all the codes, through schools, third level, inter-county even at this stage. So that's one to look forward to. On the 24th, we should have a venue for you in due course. I'm going to predict off the top of my head, it'll probably be somewhere like Tang or somewhere in Meath, which is a familiar enough place for ladies football. So we shall see on that one. Matt, I think that covers it now. Across any other AOB on the agenda for yourself this week? We've mentioned your award, Matt, of course. Don't be going away shine it now like Father Ted Crilly back in the day. Oh yeah, he's blushing again. That's it. Okay, well, thanks as ever to you, Matt, and thanks to those of you out there for watching and indeed listening. Do share this with anyone connected to any of the teams involved. I'm sure they'd love to hear their games discussed, and we shall bring you all the goings on in Limerick Gaelic games next week.